We're ready to go.
Okay. Good morning and welcome back. Today we're working on a 450 Murray motor. It's got the EX motor, and he said that he was using it, and just all of a sudden it started smoking a whole lot. And so we just kind of smiled and said, we know what that is. That means that there's probably gas leaking into the oil. So let's open her up and redo the carburetor and see what the oil looks like on this guy. It's a little bit ugly, but it's only a couple of years old, so this should be a pretty easy fix. Let's get to it. And and thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, let's get a look inside this bad boy and get the carb off. If you look around on the deck, you can see just all this crap everywhere. And that just tells us that, yeah, she's leaking something pretty big. And it's a safe bet that there's a lot of gas in the oil. Because when you see this much around the deck of a machine, even though it's oil you're looking at, the machines aren't growing oil. It's just gas mixing in with the oil. Okay, where's the other screw at? This thing's so dirty it's hard to find the screws on it. Oh, we see something under the grease. There we go. Now tell me that wasn't invisible. Okay. Pull that off, pull the airline off. This thing is going to take a lot of cleaning. I'll tell you on this one, I think we're going to go ahead and take the lid off. I don't usually do that. I don't usually take the top off of these. But on this one, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to get to the rest of the linkage. So that should do it. There might be a clip here and there, but that's about it. Oh, that's right on these. We've got to take this off to get to the last screw. The last screw is hidden underneath this in the back. There we go. Oh, excuse me. And there she is. Hiding out on us. There you go, and that'll make it a little bit easier. Now you can see what I'm doing. Now, the EX carburetor is super easy peasy to take off compared to a lot of others. Let's pinch the gas line. Let's take our pliers and remove it from the carb. There we go. Now the carburetor pops right off. And that's that. We now have a carburetor. So let's take her over to the bench and open her up and get her all cleaned up. Okay, first thing we'll do is pull the bowl off. Now these carburetors have very few problems, but the problems they do have are pretty predictable. There we go. What you run into is clogged jets. And oh, look at that. We took it off. The needle, or I'm sorry, the pin holding the floats on appears to have moved way off to one side. That would explain the oil getting into the, or I'm sorry, the gas getting into the oil. So somehow or another over the years, the needle moved from this position over to this. But since we got her apart anyway, let's go ahead and give her a good bath. We'll drop her through the ultrasonic and now we'll pull the jets out. Come on, baby. There we go. And if we take a look at the jets, ye gods. Calling that dirty is very generous. Let's go ahead and get this cleaned up. Now usually I'd clean the outsides up before I throw it in, but today the water is just about due for a change anyway, so I'll go ahead and put the whole thing in as is. Doesn't do any good to put the bowl in, but it'll make it shiny. So I'll drop that in. Okay, let's drain this oil out into a little water bottle, and we'll transfer the water bottle over to our oil bucket. Yep. I'm looking at that oil. The oil is very gray, and it just looks odd. So it's a safe bet that she was pouring, that she was pouring gas backwards. So let's go ahead and get the rest of it. We've already exceeded the capacity of this mower and what's come out. And we're not done yet. You notice when I tip it, I'm tipping it away from the gas cap. And the reason we're tipping it away from the gas cap is that way we just won't have gas pour everywhere while we're doing this. Okay, that'll just about do the oil. Or whatever you want to call this stuff that was in there with the oil. If you look at the color on the bottle, see that grayish tint? The grayish tint indicates that there's something mixed in with the oil. Okay, looking at this, you can still barely see any air through that. So we're going to use Christmas wire. I call it Christmas wire. It's a wire that comes in spools like this that you use to hang Christmas ornaments. Or whatever holiday you prefer ornaments. Now this is the one that gets underneath the gas line. So this is the one that gets underneath the gas line. So this one and this one and this one, are the ones most likely to get clogged up and cause it to run badly. Okay, I just blew a little air through this, and it blows through pretty good. And everything looks to be in one piece. And we've talked about it before, and some people do drill these out. As I said then, that's a skill. Don't try that unless you got a lot of talent. Okay, looks like the jets are just about ready to go. But this one, especially this one, tends to be the one that This one, especially this one, tends to be the one that clogs up the most. Okay, now we've taken a look down inside here. Almost impossible to see it through the camera, but that is where your needle sits. That's what they call your seat. And so we double checked it to make sure that it was still nice and clean. Now putting your jets back in, easy peasy. One way, no go. One way, go. So you can't put them in backwards. And if you start to put it in, you feel it like hanging up on something, you probably got it backwards. So now we'll get this all set up. And it does look like the whole problem with this was this pin just flat scooted off to one side. Can't say I've ever seen that happen before. But it probably started from the factory that way. And it just took years and years to get to the point where it failed. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's put our bowl back on. Note this little dent here. This goes in that little dent. And it's just like putting the float in. If you've got it backwards, then this won't want to seat in. Stop and go the other way. You know, stop and then spin it around, try it again. I noticed I didn't put this one all the way in until I got this one started, because it's a rubber O-ring. And you didn't see it, but while we were waiting, I put oil on the rubber O-ring just so it'd seat in nice and easily. Okay, let's put her back on the motor and see what we've got. Okay, when we're putting her back together, you've got this and this go inside here. And my hands are a little bit oily right now, so that'll put a little bit of oil on the ring. But you want to put this on the carb first. Don't try to attach the O-ring and the clip to the motor, because it just won't work. It's just a pain in the neck. So let's get her back in here and get her back on. Now, okay, let's get her back together. First thing we're going to do is put our linkage on. And this one's only got one linkage wire. So it doesn't take a genius to get that back together. Now, as we put her on, we're going to get our fuel line more or less back in place, because we know that's going to be a hang-up as you go on with this particular type of carburetor. So now we've got the carburetor more or less in place, so we're Ouijaing it back on. Okay, let's get our fuel clamp back on. Come on, buddy. There you go, there you go. Ah, perfect. Very nice. Now with that back on, it should fall pretty much back in place. And there you have it. Carburetor is back on. Now your seal is on that little rubber O-ring, so you don't have a whole lot to worry about there. You notice I took these and gave them a nice bath while we were waiting for the carburetor. And I do that half because it makes it look nice, and half because I hate working on dirty parts. There we go. Let's get this out of our way, get our screws. Now usually I use a magnet on all the screws, but I didn't this time. And the only reason I didn't was there was just a few screws. This is a nice quick one. There's one. And the two screws with the regular standard issue screw threads are the ones that go into the actual plastic on the carburetor. So they go on the inside. The two with machine threads go on the outside. One here and one here. And that's because they're going into a steel bracket. Okay, so let's get these going. And on most things, I always say, you know, don't tighten them up until you get all the screws in. This is that rare exception to the rule. Okay, we've got a little bit of fuel, but we don't know what kind of shape it's in, so let's put a little bit more in. There you go, we just doubled the value of the lawnmower. Now put the top on and see if she starts. There we go. And notice when we first started to put it on, it didn't go. And we played with the rope a little bit and it just fell right in. That's just a good mental note for later. Okay, and that's it. It's entirely possible. We just have a dirty lawnmower now. So, now we need to put oil in her before we start it. And I'm out of oil, so we'll be back in just a little while. Now on this one, I noticed something pretty cool. I saw this on the handle and wasn't even sure what it was. Then I realized it's an anti-safety safety. I don't know if it was factory or aftermarket. I haven't seen one of these before. But as you can see, it's designed to hold the bail and pop off. That's pretty interesting. Okay, well, anyway, the infamous first start. Let's crank her up. Now with all the oil and everything I saw on this one, I don't have as much faith in it as I normally would. But let's give her a go. Okay, that should do it. Cross your fingers. We'll use our little fancy safety. I'm hearing that noise. I don't know if you're hearing it, but that is the classic sound of a rod knocking. Well, it's a pretty sad end for this one. We had great hopes, but no matter how good you are at this, sometimes it's just not worth the time and effort. This one has a bad crank, and she's banging like there's no tomorrow. And even though we got her started, she's just not worth the effort and the time and the money it would cost to get her running again. The truth of it is a push mower in Texas is only worth about 50 bucks. And it's got more than $50 worth of problems now. So, we're leaving her on the curb, and she'll become somebody else's problem.